Hello everybody, I'm Storm here. Welcome back to Final Fantasy XIV Online Endwalker. In the last episode, we reconvened back in the Baldesion Annex in Sharlayan to go over our findings from the two different branches that we were pursuing. We've hit a dead end with the Forum, so there's really nothing left to do there. And we now had the Tower of Zot to deal with, so we decided to head back to Thafnir and deal with the Tower of Zot, which, according to Eorzea, I believe it was, since it was magically conjured, should have some manner of arcane core that we could destroy to eliminate the tower, hopefully without risking the Matanga inside. So that's what we did. Worked our way through the tower, fought through all the defenses, knocked out the Magus Sisters, and destroyed the core, which worked exactly as anticipated. Unfortunately, we didn't think about the fact that, we were going to be at the top of said tower, and that all the Matanga were going to be distributed throughout the tower as well, and if the tower is suddenly evaporated, everybody was going to have a really nasty fall. Fortunately, Graha had a levitation spell that was able to catch all of us, though it kind of knocked him flat to cast it. So he's recovering. Everybody else seems to be none the worse for wear, and we're working on getting all those Matanga detempered. So that's kind of where we're at. We've been invited into Radz-at-Han, so that is where we are headed next. And as you can tell, I am wearing a new gear set on my machinist. I decided to swap out for the level 82 gear from this expansion. Not bad. I dyed it, obviously, to match the gun, because the gun I'm still using, because the gun I will probably be using for quite some time. Because the relics are very good compared to anything else you can get at the moment. So, we're going to talk to the Radiant Guardsman and head on in. Honored Scions, you are free to enter at your leisure. As I cannot leave my post, I'm afraid you must make your own way. If you require directions in the city, the sentry stationed at the fountain atop the steps should be glad to assist you. Alright, good. And it's raining. Lovely. Estinian. Though I have been to Radz-at-Han before, this place is a veritable maze. Rather than risk getting lost, we had best ask for directions from the sentry at the fountain. Either way, and don't expect me to act as your tour guide like certain others. Alright, Estinian's accompanying us, which means we have to keep him in tow. Alright, so there's our attentive Radiant. Mr. Soyame, I presume? I understand that you are here for an audience with the Satrap. If you require directions to Megaduta, I should be glad to provide them. The Satrap's residence is situated in Dharma, the highest part of Radz-at-Han. To get there, I would ordinarily recommend a route that takes you by the bazaars in the city's north. Due to the state of alert, however, most businesses are currently closed and the Aetheryte disabled. Of course it is. As such, I will provide you with an alternate path. First, please ascend the steps next to this fountain, then continue left. There will be more steps, and upon ascending them, you will emerge on Pasca's path. Proceed to the large door on the right, and you'll arrive at Ruveda Fibers. Within, you will find another sentry who will give you further guidance. There probably needs to be a comma there. A little bit of a typo. In other words, we head up. Sounds straightforward enough. Now, we do want to be hitting Ethernet shards on the way. I don't think I'm going to run around and pick them all up just now. But I will get them all at some point. Alright, here's another Radiant. Heading to Megaduta, are you? In that case, please follow this hallway to my right and go through the door at the top of the stairs. You'll emerge at the entrance to the airship landing, where another sentry should be on hand to assist you. Incidentally, if you ascend the steps to either side of me, you'll find the workshops of Ruveda Fibers. Though you're free to observe the artisans, take care not to lose your way. I'm guessing this way. And here we have another shard. The airship landing. Okay. Let's go ahead and talk to this Radiant. If you're here for an airship, I'm afraid all flights have been suspended until further notice, because of course they are. So the state of alert is still in effect. Perhaps it's for the best. That aside, we're not here for an airship. We have business at Megaduta. Oh, in that case, permit me to direct you. From here, it's quite simple, really. Ascend these steps and then continue straight ahead and across the bridge. You cannot miss it. Alright, we'll ascend the steps and across the bridge. Keep an eye out for any more Ethernet shards, which is one over there. There's a conversation point here. Istidian, what do you have to say? I remember passing by here with Varshan. The situation being as it was, he regretted not being able to show us the sights. Life has yet to return to normal here, but when it does, you ought to pay another visit. Though the city is confusing, the food is quite good. I'm partial to hamsa myself. The meat surprisingly tender and flavorful. Apparently the hamsa didn't like that. Alright, we're gonna go grab this shard and then we'll head to Megaduta. And there's another shard straight ahead. And there's the attendant. Greetings and welcome to Megaduta. May I inquire after your business? We are members of the Scions of the Seventh Dawn, come at the invitation of His Excellency. Ah, of course. We have been expecting you. I will show you to the audience chamber, if you would please follow me. And there's, most of the crew. Missing a couple. There they are.
Are we the last to arrive? I hope we've not kept you waiting.
Not at all. Your comrade is feeling better, I trust.
Much better, thank you. Harness remedies are certainly potent, in more ways than one.
One becomes accustomed to the taste, although I hope you never have cause to do so. Pray, take your ease.
Full glad I am to see you all unharmed.
Valiant scions, for your heroism, you have my boundless gratitude. You cast down that dire tower and set free its hapless captives. You cleanse their souls of its corrupting influence. No words of thanks will suffice. In place of platitudes, I offer a bounty of warding scales. Pray accept your due reward, along with the goodwill of Radz-at-Han.
Alchemists throughout the land were put to work in the forging of your talismans. The finished ones have been collected, and now await you at the High Crucible of Alchemia. Present this letter when you are ready to take them into your possession.
We are humbled by your generosity. Know that the inventive wisdom of Radz-at-Han will be vital in restoring serenity to our star.
Every single one of those scales came from you, didn't they? You must still be in such pain.
Yeah, that's gotta feel nice.
'Tis of no moment. A mere annoyance compared to the dreadful suffering inflicted upon this land and its people.
Albeit brief, my involvement in the Dragonsong War afforded me a glimpse of the myriad sorrows which consumed both dragon and man. Though you were half a world away, such tragedies as befell your kin must have affected you deeply. And yet, you chose to live among men.
In the age when that conflict first bloomed, my choice had already been made. In some distant place, man slew dragon, and dragon slaughtered man. Yet no hate could I muster for those smiling faces which did look to me for guidance. Not even my brother's righteous rage could rally me to his cause. I huddled here, secret and still, hoping against hope that which I had built would remain untouched by the chaos and carnage.
'Twould seem we share the same desire for peace, great Vritra. To that end, I wonder if we might trouble you with another question. The Telophoroi are intent on recreating the final days, an apocalyptic event which we know to predate the sundering of the star. As the longest lived among us, know you aught of this terrible cataclysm?
Nay. When war and strife drove my sire from his home, he crossed the great expanse with only our unhatched eggs as company.
Right, because the dragons are essentially aliens. And learn about this a bit more in the Omega raids, which I haven't done on this character. So
He alighted upon a shattered source, its 13 reflections long since scattered beyond the rift. Of events preceding his arrival, he knoweth naught, save that which Hydralin hath deigned to disclose.
I see. So again, 'tis the inscrutable Hydaelyn to whom you must look for answers.
Seek you to divine the will of this star? If so, I have a tale which may afford you some small comfort. 'Tis a story from my youth, many, many years ago. To my sire, I once posed the question, of all the stars in the sky, why didst thou settle upon this one? To which Midgardsormr did reply, 'twas the last bastion of hope. He believed so long as Hydaelyn endured, so too might dragonkind. Solemn and portentous were his words. What deeper meaning they held, I could not, dared not pursue. 'Tis a stone I've left unturned ever since.
So there's something significant about this particular world.
Yet take you solace in the knowledge that whatsoever Hydralyn does strive towards, 'tis an ideal which hath earned my sire's conviction.
Thank you, Vritra. You've given us warm reassurance in a world gripped by cold uncertainty.
While I'm sure we all have a great many questions, I think it's time we collect the talismans and be on our way. Our fight against the Telophoroi is far from finished.
Yep, not even close.
We must take our leave, but please do inform us if we can provide any further assistance.
Prithee, a moment.
Oh,
There is one whom my sire hath judged worthy of honor and respect. The one known to men as Eorzea's champion. This hero of renown and rumor, 'tis thee.
yes. Midgardsormr and I have crossed paths, yes. I've not spoken with your father in some time. No, we really haven't, actually. We'll go with that one.
In accordance with the covenant he forged with Hydralyn, the stewardship of this star hath ever been his purpose. Silence in the face of thine actions is the greatest sign of his approval.
So no news is good news, I guess.
'Twas a revelation most pleasing that thou, a child of man, had gained Midgardsormr's trust. But alongside mine elation runneth a rivulet of dread. For upon thy life's reel wind too many threads of fate, power, wheel enmeshed with woe. Amidst this tangled knot thou shalt know no rest. 'Tis an endless confluence of forces, a struggle without surcease. More terrible still is the attrition wrought upon thy companions, as they are swept up in the storm of thine existence.
Right. Ysael, Moonbreeda. Apolimo. Minfilia. Orchefont. All lost.
Take heart and protect them well. They will be your strength and your salvation. The hope thou wilt need come the end. Even cowering behind my curtain, I know the suffering of the powerful. I have watched my siblings driven mad by loss. Thus do I exhort thee to spare no effort to keep thy loved ones safe.
And right on cue.
Ah, apologies. We hadn't meant to interrupt.
It's just that we do have a history of suddenly collapsing, and when you didn't follow us out...
'Tis I who must apologize. I have detained your champion overlong with idle chatter. Go. At war's end, I pray I welcome thee back into my hall, where together with thy joyful comrades, you may toast your triumph.
How would you do that? Yep, we'll do what we can to make sure we don't lose any more. Alright, Alpha Note. Apologies again. I hope we didn't force you to conclude your conversation prematurely. No big deal. Alice? So, what were you and Vitra talking about? Nothing. Nothing? Well, very well, if you say so. The others have gone ahead to the High Crucible. Let's catch up with them. Yes. You have anything else to say? Like his sister Tiamat, Vitra is possessed of a gentle soul. I'm glad they're on our side. Yes. Like, we now have Racevalger, Tiamat, and now Vitra. Nidhogg, and Radz-at-Han and Bahamut are all gone. And so there's one more of the first brood we haven't met yet. Azdaja, I think? If I'm recalling correctly from wherever I picked that up from. Well, whatever. Ah. Archon Loath. The attendant was kind enough to give me directions to the High Crucible. Well, first, let us return to the mulberry orchard. Yes, the High Crucible of Alchemia. I see what you're doing there. Guess we'll be following Alphino and Alice through the city. I understand the mulberries are for the silkworms. Grown a stone's throw away from the satrap's residence. It gives the quintessential Thavnarian flair, don't you think? Alright, so I guess they produce silk here. From here, we're supposed to follow the path left and past the mulberries. Delphino? The word huge apparently means blind in the local tongue, and this district is so named because it connects all others, or bind, not blind. If we managed to come this far, we shouldn't have trouble finding the High Crucible, or so I was told. Alright, Alice. With the straight turns, enter the door straight ahead, then descend the steps. I thought the Crystarium was confusing, but doesn't compare to Radz-at-Han. The architecture and decorations make it even harder to get your bearings. Anyway, let's see where this door takes us. It is certainly a colorful place. And it's taken us down to the Aetheryte Plaza, which we can't use. Alice? Seems we're on the right track. Alphino. And here is the Aetheryte Plaza. So far, so good. There isn't much further to go. From here, we just need to cross to the other side of the hall, and then pass the larger of two doorways. The High Crucible lies beyond. I suspect the others have already collected the warding scales. Come, let us join them. Indeed. No, we're not going to talk about the guy in the shiny gold pig suit. Oriange. Though this land hath been afforded a respite, in turmoil do many others languish still. Our work is far from finished. Thancred. You took your time. Got turned around, I take it? Nope, we did not. We just got distracted by Vitra. Which is fine. Ah, here's the crew. And that's an interesting device. Alright, Alphino, what do you have to say? What an immense laboratory. How many such places were enlisted to help forge the warding scales, I wonder? Graha? And quite well now, I assure you. As they say, the stronger the taste and stranger the color, the more effective the remedy. With my body trying to replenish the ether I spent, however, I'm feeling rather famished. I think a sampling of the local delicacies is in order. Hamster cuisine would be a good place to start, perhaps. Kryl. The students have previously turned to Radz-at-Han's alchemist for help with the analysis of various artifacts. And that is how I became acquainted with Nadana. I'm glad we could rescue her and pray she makes a full recovery. And Dola. Excellent. You're in time to hear the latest good news. I guess that's our scales. Alright, LSA. We're last, of course, but at least we found the place.
These are the talismans we were promised.
Yes, and I made a quick count. There are far more than we could have hoped for. Enough to outfit an entire company of soldiers, in fact. Considering the involved process, that they were able to manufacture so many in such a short span of time is nothing short of a miracle.
Once we have distributed them to our allies in Eorzea and the Far East, we'll have a fighting chance to bring down the other spires, just as we did with the Tower of Zot.
About to say, they probably worked themselves till they passed out again.
Or we could use them to invade Garlemald proper, and strike directly at the Telophoroid's base of operations.
A bold plan.
Of course, we would need to consult with various Alliance leaders before such a drastic measure could even be contemplated. To which end, I could set out forthwith and present the idea to each of our allies in person.
Pray allow me to undertake some few of those journeys. I find myself restless and in need of purposeful duties.
I can head eastward. Bosnia and Dalmasca are just a short hop from here. And Doma's shinobi network should come in handy for passing on the word.
We shall share the burden then. Meanwhile, I think it best that you and the others take the talismans back to the Baldessian Annex. We must keep them safe and secure until we've decided upon a course of action.
Please, I must speak with you.
Ah, Nadana. Recovered already.
Nadana? You're awake?
Yes. When I spoke with the carer at my bedside, she told me that one of the scions, a young woman, had cleansed me of the tower's corruption. It seems I'd been asleep ever since the treatment. But when I awoke and learned you were all still here, I knew I had to come.
As you said, Nidana was captured only recently. Such a brief exposure is swiftly cured, so I tended to her before we gathered at Megaduta.
And I am truly grateful that you did. I cannot thank you enough. All of you, for everything you've done. Destroying the tower, rescuing our people. You've saved Thavnair from an awful fate.
What we do.
Yet who hath truly saved whom? Due in no small part to thine inspirational courage, the alchemists were successful in reproducing warding scales of proven efficacy. Replications of thy work now stand ready to travel across the seas, unto the hands of those who might wield them against this rising evil.
The talisman? Is this true? Oh, I was so groggy from sleep. I didn't even think to ask. Oh, our great work sent across the seas. It was worth it. Oh, it was all worth it.
The flower.
Look at that! Its color is completely changed.
What do you have there? How unusual. I wonder if the effect is a reaction to Akasha.
I'm afraid I'm not familiar with that term.
Akasha? It is one of the unseen energies defined by Hanish alchemical theory. Though a gross oversimplification, some describe it as an essence influenced by feelings.
You imply that it is distinct from ether?
Foreign scholars often conflate the two, but we see them as separate concepts. Ether is an energy which permeates the land. It exists within animals, objects, even the air we breathe, affecting all through which it flows. Akasha, on the other hand, exists in a domain beyond our reach. A gift bestowed from on high, or torn from the heavens in some traditions. Akasha can neither be created nor destroyed. It is beyond our power to purposefully alter or manipulate. The only thing observed to influence it is an abundance of, I want to say, spiritual emotion. As a veteran of the battlefield, Surely you've experienced moments of desperation or exaltation when you've transcended the usual limits of your capabilities.
So you're talking about limit breaks. Yes. We've experienced that.
That is a manifestation of Akasha, the invisible essence harnessed by heart, mind, and unyielding spirit.
I really must hear more about this theory. Our disciplines are based entirely upon the idea that ether is the fundamental form of all energy.
I'm glad my haphazard explanation has piqued your interest. But even for us, Akasha is a somewhat abstract field of study. A lack of practical application lends itself poorly to formalized research. Which is why my analysis of your flower can amount to little more than idle speculation.
Nonsense! You have nothing to be sorry for. Your insight is much appreciated.
Yes, it definitely is a thread that could be followed, potentially.
Shall we depart for Sharlayan then? I will see to it that the talismans arrive at the Annex.
And we will be in touch once our talks are concluded. I suggest you rest while you can. From here onward, sleep is bound to be in short supply.
Alright, interesting. And yes, that does provide in-universe lore explanations as to why we can perform limit breaks. Alright, Nadana, anything else? Last thing I remember before being absorbed into the tower was you rushing towards me. I can only imagine the hardships you and yours must have had to overcome to rescue us. It was, you know, nothing any more than we've run into before. No amount of words will suffice to express my gratitude, but I hope the flower's radiant glow says everything I cannot. Alright, so now we need to head back to the Baldessian Annex. And, let's see what the next course of action is going to be. Trial. It's good to be back, and with the fruit of our labors safely in storage. For now, we have but to wait for the others to return from their respective meetings with the Alliance leaders. As Thancred suggested, you should get some rest in the meantime. Okay, we need to speak with Ojika Tsunjika and take a rest. And what I'm gonna do is, if we're gonna take a break, just I'm gonna swap to, did I not? There it is. Something more comfortable. All right. Welcome back, Ayame. Kryl has apprised me of your recent accomplishments. What an amazing feat to eliminate a tower and pave the way to deal with the rest. While it isn't much, I've changed your sheets and plumped up your pillow. After all, there's nothing like collapsing in a nice clean bed after completing a major milestone, be it penning a thesis or defeating deiform entities. So, would you like to take a look at your new and improved lodgings now? Yep, we'll retire to our chamber. And it's back to being gray.
Take heart and protect them well.
Good, you're here. You haven't eaten yet, have you?
You got takeout?
We've bought quite a spread if you're interested. Only the finest dining from the last stand.
Nice. That is quite a spread. And there's the burger. That burger's as big as his head. Oh, pickles. I also do not care for pickles, Hallie.
Lest you wonder, we invited Estinian as well. But he refused with a rather grim-faced, "No, thank you." I suspect Sharlayan cuisine is not to his liking.
Oh, I don't know about that. Perhaps our lone wolf just needed some time apart.
What? To perfect his brooding stare? Next time, I'll drag him out by the ear, sit him down in front of a Sharlayan feast, and see that he eats every last bite.
An excellent idea. Of all people, warriors must take proper meals and rest if they are to maintain a healthy constitution.
Poor Estinian, beset on all sides.
Speaking of one's physical condition, Mistress Quile, I hear you recently played literal host to Hydaelyn herself.
And what an experience that was. Tiring, yes, but no lasting harm done. If anything, I should have liked to speak with her longer. I've not felt a hint of her presence since.
Hydaelyn instructed you to carry that flower, yes?
Yes.
'Twill be your guide, test and proof of your conviction. And then something about seeking joy in darkness, was it? Come to think of it, isn't that what happened with Nidana back in Radz-at-Han?
So it would seem.
The flower did seem to radiate a joyful glow, as if reflecting the elation we all felt, the relief of a people with renewed hope.
Indeed, and in turn, I felt buoyed by that radiance. 'Twas akin to spotting a beacon and knowing we were on the right path. I know we've not yet triumphed over the Telophoroi, or learned the full breadth of the Forum's plans. But even within the midst of our struggles, we find small moments of joy to sustain us. Rare and hard-won perhaps, but it is this pursuit of happiness that gives us the strength to carry on day after day. Hey, that's mine.
Just yoinked
To
it.
the swift the spoils. Though I recall that levitation spell of yours was quick enough.
Only barely. And even at my best, I'm still too slow to wield it effectively in battle. Mayhap I simply require more practice with this new magic.
You unearthed it from the depths of Numenon, I presume?
Aye, and from a veritable mountain of arcane tomes at that. 'Twas necessary to facilitate my solitary explorations.
Or, to put it simply, you used it to sneak around the Forbidden Archives.
Yes, well, after a fashion. They're tall, you see. The shelves, they're too tall for me. And I could hardly move the library's platforms without attracting attention now, could I?
Oh.
So instead, you unearth an forgotten levitation spell out of an ancient tome. I guess that works. And it looks like we polished most of it off. That donut sitting there looks pretty good. Are we pushing on till dawn?
I'm not that ambitious. But 'tis pleasant to idle away the hours every once in a while.
It is. And it's glowing again, green this time. And the other side. Xenos. And Fandaniel.
Ah! Enjoying the bracing cold, I see. Do you not own a warm coat or a cloak? Something in fur? Or fashioned from the skins of your enemies? Or... well, never mind that.
And no longer using Asahi's voice now.
I come to you once more as the bearer of bad news.
Yep.
Our tower in Thavnir has been toppled, and I need not tell you by whom. Given how many we have at our disposal, the loss of a single spire is hardly fatal to our plans. It does, however, slow the rate at which we siphon the ether. If they continue to preoccupy themselves with the towers, then all will be well. But should our foe prove bold enough to strike at us here, then the timing becomes questionable.
Well, that is the plan.
Our foe is bold enough. Of that, I can assure you.
Yes, very well then. I suppose I must prepare a proper welcome. Honestly, talk of your nemesis is the only thing you seem to enjoy. Does nothing else spark your interest?
No. Not really.
No. All else is... equal. Equally tedious. Equally disappointing. The world is a tepid bog into which we sink, too weak to thrash as the mud clings to our eyes and fills our throats till we blissfully choke. But then came the light, blinding and pure and hot, so very hot, enough to set my soul aflame. I basked in the afterglow, until the void yawned once more. And then I knew the muck would never claim me again. There was naught for me ahead, so I drew the curtain on all that had come before. Burn. Burn. Let the whole star burn. I will have my contest. I will reclaim my moment.
How wonderful that the emptiness of death has not dissuaded you from committing your life to its pursuit once more. I don't know whether to envy you or pity you.
You question my disinterest, but what of yours? Despite your noisome antics, I sense you take little pleasure in this endeavor.
Mercy, my lord. Such pointed barbs from one who barely acknowledges my existence. Nevertheless, you are mistaken. For I do find this part somewhat enjoyable. You see, when I was mortal, I would always have the same dream. It was a fragmented thing, disjointed, all the faces incomplete. The setting, too, was unknown to me, so I thought it simply a fantasy of my sleeping mind. Until one day, I realized it was showing me the truth. Much as your dream of the final days enlightened you.
And here's one question. Why does he have dreams of the final days?
And soon, very soon, the rest of the world will see the truth of my dream, too. Yes, I think that is something we can both enjoy.
All right. We are through all of that, and now we need to go and talk to Kryl, figure out what the next plan of action is. See what the results of Y'shtola, Thancred, and Urianger's efforts with the leaders of the Alliance have been. To see if we are, in fact, heading to Garlemald. Spoiler alert, we are heading to Garlemald. Because we knew that before this expansion even came out. So, we'll go ahead and stop here. And we'll get to work on that next episode. So for now, I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. Go ahead, like, subscribe, and comment. And I will see you next time.